Hey everyone, it's evening here. I am back in Moscow. Well, Moscow Oblast. I am in Himki, and it's a beautiful summer evening after a thunderstorm. So right behind me is my favorite coffee shop where I like to hang out and do work or whatever else I need to do. I did some Russian homework, the Mashne Zadanya, and I did a conference call that I needed to do for work, and now I am heading back to the train. So where I live, it's not the, when I say it's not the most populated area, I guess that's not true. There's lots of people there, but it's not as good as Himki. Mine doesn't have enough, in my opinion. Mine doesn't have enough nice cafes, at least to my liking. I mean, there are some, but just not my style. You know, a couple of them I don't necessarily feel, not that I'm not welcomed, I sit for a while. I don't know. So I don't feel comfortable there. But here, I got a favorite one. I sit there and I buy a couple things. I always tip when I leave the girls, just because I sit there forever. But I make sure if the place is crowded, sometimes I'll move to like to have like a counter where no one likes to sit. Sometimes I'll go there just because I don't want to take up all the seats that the place has. Try to be nice to the business owner. This is one of my favorite spots around here, just because there's lots of trees here. I like to walk. There we go. Oh, so sorry, wrong way. And I like all the green. The road's busy, but I like how it's all green. It's one of the things about in the U.S. that we just don't have a lot of pedestrian friendly areas. I mean, we have some, but they're only really popular during events and stuff. This is an everyday thing, of course. I mean, it's a big city. I'm sure New York is this way. Maybe Chicago's this way, but I don't like either one of those places in the U.S. So this is one of my favorite places. But just wanted to show you my day, a different vibe than Lipetsk, of course. Different vibe than the city of Lipetsk. Also a really big different vibe than hanging out in the Derevny. I mean, I enjoy both. It's kind of nice to hang out in the village and do the village things and go to Lipetsk, see some of my friends, but then it's also nice to come back to a much bigger city, and so much to do here, of course, going to Moscow. And that's what I'm going to do tomorrow. I've got to do some scouting for some areas. So I'm going to go in and check out some metro stations on the south side of Moscow, because my goal is to, even though I like this area, I'm going to sell my apartments on the north side of Moscow and buy one on the south side of Moscow. And it's going to be interesting, because with what's going on in the world and in Russia, selling apartments is not a good time because the interest rate is just crazy. However, it's a great time to buy. And the good news is my apartment is in not the most expensive area, so it's a little cheaper, and I think might have a better time selling. And then where I want to buy is more expensive, so it might be to my advantage. But today, dealing with problems, I had to go to both of my banks and work out some issues with just problem trying to move some money, and that is like extremely difficult for foreigners. Not just me. I shouldn't say that. It's a lot of Russians right now. Everything is suspect of being fraudulent. So every transaction's like frozen. Talk to the people on the telephone the best I can in Russian, and I'm still waiting. So I went into the branch to talk to them, and it's so funny. I went into the branch to talk to them, and they put me back on the phone. Big old Harley. But finally took care of it. Then I had to go to my other bank because they want to update my information, which really upsets me because I did it in June and I had to come back and update it a second time, and I don't know why. But typical BS for foreigners, but it's part of the process, I guess. Lots of people out. It's like 9:30 at night and everybody's out. It's a nice little area. People over there hanging out, here walking. I know a lot of people don't like the weather, but it rained, so it kept everything cool today. Lots of people with babies I see. Maybe in the US I just don't see them because everyone's in cars, but I seem to see more young families here than I recall seeing in the US. Oh, they have corn. And my home state in the US is corn. The phrase is there's more than corn in Indiana. But corn and soybeans is our main product. Well, and tomatoes. So I'm walking to the train, my electrichka. And of course, you can't have a video in Moscow without talking about how great the transportation is. Even though I'm not in the center or even near the center of Moscow, still great transportation. The buses here, which I hate to take, the buses here are great. Of course, you can take a taxi if you want. And the electrichka is really the main transportation for me. I purchased my apartment right next to the tracks because then that way I can go places like here. It's about a 15-minute train ride to get to here from my station, just because I like this better. And I have more friends here. Sometimes they come and hang out with me at the coffee shop or a different restaurant in the evening. But I needed to get a lot of work done, so today I didn't really reach out. I think tomorrow evening we may do that. Definitely this weekend we'll hang out, because I have to go back to the US for my daughter's wedding soon. But now you can start seeing, sorry my video's wobbling, my iPhone died on me, so I had to buy a cheap Samsung, and I can just tell by my waddling that the phone does not have the same stability as my iPhone. But I am almost at the train station. I will sign off when I get to the corner. I'm going to try and do a couple more videos a week. I was really bummed out that I didn't do a lot for the whole month of May and June. But here we go. All right. See you next time.